She's not going to tell you the truth just because you asked. In fact, the moment you start chasing honesty, she'll start protecting herself. You think she's lying to you, but what she's really doing is managing your perception of her. Because for most women, truth isn't about facts. It's about emotions. It's about how you will react once you know what's real. And that's where most men fail. Not because they're bad at reading women, but because they don't understand what truth means to her. A woman's truth changes depending on how safe she feels with you. That's why she can tell one story to her best friend, a slightly different version to her ex, and a completely different one to you. It's not deception, it's adaptation, emotional protection dressed as logic. If you want to hear the truth from a woman, you have to earn her emotional honesty. You don't demand it. You create the conditions where it reveals itself naturally. That means showing her that you can handle her emotions without judgment, without exploding, and without withdrawing. Because when a woman senses that your ego is fragile, her honesty dies in her throat. The men who get the real truth aren't the ones asking questions. They're the ones creating calm, silence that feels safe, eyes that don't flinch when she's vulnerable, a tone that doesn't punish her for being real. You want her truth? Stop chasing it with suspicion. Let her feel your steadiness. Truth blooms in emotional safety. But here's the paradox. The moment she feels like she can't lose you, she'll start testing how much truth you can handle. That's when the real game begins, not between you and her, but between your emotional control and her emotional truth. Most men never make it that far, because they don't understand the psychological switch that determines when a woman decides to stop managing your emotions and start revealing hers. That's the point where trust either deepens or dies. And once you understand that switch, once you master it, you'll never have to chase honesty again. She'll volunteer it, not because she has to, but because she wants to. Let me tell you something most men never realize. Women don't lie out of malice. They lie out of fear. Fear of losing your respect, fear of confrontation, fear that the truth might make you see them differently. It's not about manipulation. It's about survival in a world that often punishes their honesty. When she hides something from you, it's rarely because she wants to deceive you. It's because she's measuring your capacity to handle reality. She's thinking, if I tell him this, will he still see me the same? Will he stay calm? Will he still want me? You might think you want the truth, but if your reaction makes her feel unsafe, her instinct will bury it deeper. This is why emotionally disciplined men stand out. They don't flinch when faced with uncomfortable truths. They don't react, they observe. They know that every word a woman says has an emotion underneath it, a motive, a fear, or a hope. When she says, "I don't know," it often means, "I'm scared to tell you." When she says, "It's nothing," it often means, "It's something, but I don't trust how you'll handle it." You can't get the truth from a woman through interrogation. You get it through presence, through calm energy that says you don't need to perform here, through questions that invite safety, not defense. Try this once. Instead of asking, "Why didn't you tell me?" say, "You can tell me anything. I'd rather know your truth than a version that feels safe." That one shift changes everything. Because when she senses that you value authenticity over comfort, that you won't weaponize her honesty, her walls start to fall. And the truth, it starts slipping out piece by piece. But remember, when she starts opening up, it might not be pretty. Women test you through truth. Sometimes she'll drop small confessions just to see if your energy changes, to see if you withdraw, criticize, or stay centered. Your reaction in those moments decides how deep she'll go next time. So ask yourself, do you really want her truth, or just the version that keeps your ego intact? Because the man who can handle the truth, without needing to control it, becomes the man she can finally be honest with. Every woman you meet carries two stories inside her, the one she tells the world and the one she whispers to herself in the dark. The first story is polished, it's safe, it keeps her accepted. The second one, that's where her real truth lives. But she only shows that version to the man who makes her feel emotionally invisible and physically understood. See, women are emotional translators. They don't speak in pure facts. They speak in feelings, tones, pauses, and contradictions. You ask her a direct question like, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I'm fine." But her voice drops half a tone, her eyes look away for a second, and her breathing shifts. That's not fine. That's a coded message. That's her truth knocking on the door, quietly, waiting to see if you're listening with your heart or just your ears. Most men listen to words, but words are camouflage. Emotion is truth. You want to unlock her real thoughts. Stop trying to analyze her logic. Feel her emotion. The woman who says, "I don't care," often cares deeply. The one who says, "I don't need you," often means, "I need to know you won't leave, even if I push you away." To get the truth out of a woman, you don't push harder. You slow down. You study her silence. You pay attention to how she changes when she's vulnerable versus when she's defensive. You learn that emotional safety is built not in what you say, but in what you don't do. No raised voices, no sarcasm, no rolling your eyes, just presence, grounded, still, unreactive. Because here's the thing, a woman's truth hides behind her emotional temperature. When she feels calm, her honesty warms up. When she feels judged, it freezes. You can't force warmth out of ice, you melt it with consistency. And consistency to a woman is the deepest form of trust. This is the kind of man she tells everything to. The one who listens without trying to fix her. The one who can sit in silence without making her feel small. The one who doesn't run from her storms but becomes her calm inside them. Once she feels that energy, her truth doesn't need to be extracted. It flows. There's a reason women confess the truth to certain men and stay guarded with others. It's not about attraction or how long you've known her. It's about emotional gravity. The stronger your center, the more her truth gets pulled toward you. The weaker your center, the more she hides behind walls, half-truths, and emotional smokescreens. You see, women feel energy before they believe words. You can tell her, "You can trust me." But if your tone, your posture, your micro-reactions show tension or ego, her intuition will pick it up instantly. She doesn't trust words. She trusts nervous systems. If yours is steady, her truth feels safe. If yours wavers, her truth goes into lockdown. This is why emotionally disciplined men are so rare and so magnetic. They're not just calm, they're safe. They can handle contradiction, confusion, emotional chaos without losing balance. They understand that when a woman hides something, she's not trying to win a game. She's protecting herself from the unpredictable reactions she's experienced before. Maybe with her father, maybe with an ex, maybe with society itself. When you respond with patience instead of pride, she feels something she rarely feels: emotional permission. The permission to exist as she really is, not as she's supposed to be. That's when she exhales. That's when the walls start to crumble. You want the truth out of her. Stop trying to prove you deserve it. Instead, show her you can handle it. Don't flinch at her honesty. Don't reward the comfortable version of her and punish the real one. Every time she takes a small risk to be vulnerable and you stay calm, her trust grows. Every time you make it about your ego, it dies a little more. Here's the deeper secret. The truth isn't something you get from her. It's something she feels safe giving. And the more emotionally strong you become, the more truth will find its way to you, not only from women, but from life itself. Because truth gravitates toward peace, lies cling to chaos. So if you want honesty from a woman, become the kind of man who doesn't need control to feel secure. That's when she'll stop performing and start revealing. Here's what most men never grasp. A woman's truth isn't revealed in words. It's tested through emotion. When she finally starts opening up, she's not just sharing her story. She's studying your reaction. Every confession she makes is a quiet question. Can I still be loved after this? Will he judge me? Will he stay? That's why most men never get past the surface. The moment she drops something uncomfortable, a past mistake, an insecurity, a secret, they flinch. Their energy shifts. Their tone hardens. Their body language says, "You're different now." And in that instant, she learns that honesty has a cost. So she stops. She goes quiet. She retreats into emotional self-defense. But the man who understands psychology knows this. When a woman gives you her truth, she's not asking for a reaction. She's asking for presence. Not for you to fix her, not to justify yourself, but to prove that her honesty won't break your respect for her. Because the more emotionally strong you are in that moment, the more she'll trust that your calm is real, not an act. Here's the paradox. A woman will hide her truth from the man she likes, but reveal it to the man she trusts. And trust doesn't come from charm, money, or dominance. It comes from consistency, from showing her that her truth doesn't scare you, that her emotions don't control you, that her past doesn't define how you see her. You want to unlock her honesty. Mirror back understanding, not judgment. When she says something heavy, don't interrogate, interpret. I get why you felt that way. That must have been hard. You're safe to tell me more. Those sentences disarm her defenses faster than any accusation ever could. And here's the kicker. Once she knows you can handle her truth, she'll start craving your presence. Because to her, your steadiness feels like emotional oxygen. She'll stop pretending, stop performing, stop hiding. You'll become the one place where she doesn't have to wear armor. But that only happens when you stop chasing her words and start mastering your energy. Because truth doesn't just live in what's said, and it lives in what's felt. There's a moment, subtle but life-changing, when a woman looks at you and realizes she no longer has to filter herself. That's when you've earned her truth. Not through force, not through clever questioning, but through presence, through calm, through the quiet strength that tells her, you're safe here. Understand this. Women don't open up to the loudest man in the room. They open up to the one who makes their chaos feel understood. The one whose eyes don't shift when she admits the things she's ashamed of. The one who doesn't need to dominate the conversation because his silence carries trust. That's the kind of man who sees beneath her words. And once she feels seen, she tells the truth not because she must, but because she wants to. When you reach that level of emotional awareness, your relationships transform. You stop arguing to be right and start listening to understand. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop chasing validation and start commanding respect without saying a word. Because the man who can hold truth without fear becomes magnetic to women, to opportunity, to life itself. So remember this. Honesty isn't something you demand from others. It's something you inspire through your presence. If you want real connection, be the calm in a world full of noise. Be the space where truth feels safe to land. That's when the masks come off. That's when love becomes real. That's when she'll tell you everything. Not out of fear, but out of freedom. Now ask yourself this. When a woman looks at you, truly looks, does she feel safe to be honest? Or does she still feel like she has to protect herself from your reaction? Drop your answer in the comments below. I want to know the truth you've learned from this. And if this video made you see things differently, give it a like, hit subscribe, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this today. Because some men don't need another compliment. They need a mirror.